what you doing? And in my head I paint a picture. Well, since I've come home, well, my body's been a mess. And I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. But won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie. Did you have to go to jail? Put your house on up for sale. Did you get a good lawyer? I hope you didn't catch a tan. I hope you find the right man who'll fix it for you. And are you shopping anywhere? Change the color of your hair. Are you busy? And did you have to pay that fine that you've been dodging all the time? Are you still dizzy? Oh, yeah. Well, since I've come home, well, my body's been a mess. And I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Oh, stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie. Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things, what you're doing. In my head I paint a picture. Since I've come home, well, my body's been a mess. And I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, why don't you come on over, Valerie?
Kris the Critic Relationship Hour with Gina B. Why you are not married. Number one, you ain't all that. I know that's hard for y'all to swallow. I don't look as good as my 22-year-old self. People need to realize that. You just ain't all that. And I get it. I got this master's degree. I went to this school, that school. I worked hard for this job, for this house. And then she over there got that man, and you don't have one. Men are very simple creatures. So, ladies, for you very accomplished ladies, I got some advice for them.
What's that?
I always say it like this. You can write this one down. Be a kitten, not a cat. What does that mean, Kris?
What does that mean?
You ever played with a kitten? It's real friendly. It almost acts like a puppy. And you want to play with it. You want to come look at the little kitty. It just makes you feel good. Now, have you ever seen an adult cat? When it feels like it might rub against your leg and move away. But is that men like kittens?
Kittens will play with anybody. A cat is particular.
Listen, what did we learn? Men are very simple creatures.
Right.
You can fool us. We want you to laugh at our dumb jokes. So all you super smart women out there, you good looking women, you see a guy you like, you guys do make it out on a date. He actually pays for the date. When you're actually with that person, the dialogue is happening, the dinner is happening. You say, okay, this might work, this might work. It would help if you act a little blind.
Oh my God, Becky.
I mean, you're going to hear me say that a lot. I mean, be nice to
So
them.
you-
If
okay.
you hear the worst joke ever, but if you sort of like them, laugh at it. There you go. Hey, it's a lot of married women out there. If we got any married women chiming in.
Look, maybe
If
y'all
I'm telling a lie,
funnier. That one's a fake laugh.
let me know.
What
Right.
you're saying is that we should cater to the male ego, and that's what's ultimately going to get us married.
I'm first saying recognize that I think some of us, more women than men, look in the mirror. You ever seen a little lion look in the mirror and see somebody real big? They see somebody a little more fine than what they are. And I'm not calling anybody ugly, so I'm not here to bash anybody.
Let's look at Middle America, okay? Middle America is not attractive.
They're not?
Middle America is largely married.
Okay, I think we're on the same page then. People sort of, we get stuck to reality shows sometime and think we're supposed to have, I got a degree in a house, so I'm supposed to have Idris Elba or his twin.
Well, I mean, if you notice, okay, so you remember your friends from high school, right? And you
I do.
remember how
Same friend.
they had all of these qualifications for, if she's going to lock me down, she got to be this, that. She's got to have an ass like bam.
That's all
she's
we
gotta
really
be-
looked at. Stop right
And
there. You had me at. That's really, what are men? Simple creatures. We want to be fed.
But-
We want you to laugh at us, give us some, and that's
Okay,
it.
but-
Together.
Move your body, don't nobody party like your body, pardon me, but I'm through. I got eyes on something that ain't you. I done seen how you move and heard about what you do. So I don't want no parts of that part. Hourglass figure, but not too smart. I done seen you with a couple of guys, couple of drinks, couple of hands all on your thighs. And I already see your next Vic. Free drinks and a couple of neck tricks. I'm not sure if you into it or into him, into deep or into them. All I know is in the interim, I have no interest to sink or swim. I can see the thirst on your face. Can't wait to catch it in the Me Too case. So I keep it moving in the 2-3 pace. Checking you ain't worth the deposit in that chase. You see my face. Yeah, you see my face.
I want somebody to love me for me. Happy, happy is where I wanna be. I want somebody to love me for me. Happy, happy is where I wanna be.
You stumbling, wondering what to think. Approaching, fumbling, food and drink. Slurring and sweating like you stink. Even if I did your gender.
What's
we
going
ain't
on,
in sync.
people? Happy
Be original,
Tuesday.
don't follow the crowd.
I am Kris the Critic, and you are watching the Kris and Gina Relationship Show.
Bonjour.
And these two beauties. First, you see her every week. To my left, your right, the incomparable Gina B.
What up? Woo, and the crowd goes wild.
And this lady right here who is guest hosting. Not only is she smart, she's beautiful. She's also the mother of my children,
Bow to the queen.
Mrs. Critic,
Hello,
Tasha.
hello.
Bow
Pleasure to
the
be here with
queen.
you guys this
We're so
evening.
excited.
I just want to thank you publicly for coming on the show. Reese, producer Reese, we got to give you a shout out to in the back. He runs the boards in the back. He makes this thing happen. Reese, I just got to let you and anyone watching this show know that it's tough getting Miss Critic on the show.
It
It's hard,
really is.
It's hard to book her.
How long has it been?
Over a year.
It's been over a year, and even still, 2 seconds before the show, she was, 'cause she's a baller.
She was fielding a phone
She
call.
was on a conference call, telling people what to do. So, I love it.
We have, Gina B likes to know
I do. I'm so
what
excited.
national day is it?
Yes. What day is it?
I don't know because you're using my phone.
Oh.
I'm going to borrow it.
Well, yeah,
real quick.
that's just, takes us off of our thing. Oh, you have it right there.
I do have. So, National Day calendar. There's a lot of things going on today if you all didn't know. It is National Esthetician Day.
Oh, I should have gotten a facial.
It is. It's also National Shawarma
Oh,
Day.
is it shawarma day?
Yum.
Oh, and I don't know what I'm having for dinner.
For those who don't know what that is,
shawarma.
it's meat that rotates, like you see, like
Chicken shawarma is the shit.
a gyro. A gyro. National Cheese Curd Day.
If you're in Wisconsin, this is your day.
National Pharmacy Tech Day. as if that's a thing.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what about National Pharmacy Tech Day.
What's that?
They must be taking that day because when I went to go pick up my dad's prescription, it took forever. So it must be National Pharmacy Tech Day because they weren't doing a damn thing. Anyway.
It is also Pro-Life Day of Silent Solidarity. Whatever.
Shut your mouth
What
if
is
you're
that?
pro-life.
Oh, God.
Just shut it.
Gina B says, shut your mouth if you're...
I mean, we're all pro-life.
Sounds like you aren't.
I mean, anyway.
It's National Latino AIDS Awareness Day. Why do they get their
It's
own?
very specific.
Yeah, they get their own AIDS awareness. That's
Very
kind of weird.
specific.
Say it one time in Spanish.
Exactly.
I don't know how to do that.
And my favorite of all of these,
Yay.
it's National I Love Lucy Day. Lucy.
That's awesome.
You got a lot of explaining to do.
And if you know what I Love Lucy is, you're old.
Or you watch, isn't it still on somewhere?
I'm sure it is.
Does Nickelodeon still exist?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't have children.
Oh well. It is. Men are from Mars. Women are from Venus. Why this show? You guys have seen that men and women aren't seeing eye to eye these days. Some people call it gender wars.
I don't understand.
Say something about a man or a woman, you're misandric, you're misogynistic, you hate black women, you hate women, your mother eats rocks.
Rocks.
People get real savage
That's
when you talk
impressive.
about some of these. So we're going to lighten it up a bit. We're going to talk about some of these
We
things.
got Christians.
We're going to make some suggestions.
We are.
We're going to tell folks gently, hey, you might want to try doing this because that isn't working as well for you when you're 75 years old. So
75.
I'm just saying, these are for the folk, men and women, who might want a long-term relationship at some point.
Maybe.
Now, if you are happy with where you are, you just want to keep juggling them around.
Although,
That's
I
fine.
have theories.
You have theories?
There are a lot of people who say they're happy where they are when they're single, and that's just because they haven't met the right person. But don't tell them that because they get upset.
True. I do think,
There are some people that are happy single. I mean, when I was single, I was happy.
Tasha, what do you think? Do you think that there are people who are happy just being single?
Yes, absolutely.
But I
great.
think some people.
She said that real quick.
I was
didn't she?
happy single.
I was happy. I was happy single too. But
Why did I bring her on the show?
I think that there's just misconception that if people are single, they're miserable. Some people are miserable married. Some people are miserable single. You could be happy either way.
Well,
you know.
I think that if
It
you
depends
are
on what you do
miserable-
with your life.
Yes, if
know?
you are a miserable person, then you're going to be miserable whether you're single or married. If you are a happy person, you will be happy because no one is there to make you happy. But
That I do believe.
yeah, I believe that.
I do believe.
Wholeheartedly. So we have some questions that you wrote.
If you, by the way, if you're watching this and you want to throw a question out there, we didn't hit something, just type it in.
Chris is pretty thorough this week, though. I have to give it to him.
Because we're gonna cover. Well, go ahead. I'll let you run the show.
Okay, so we're going to cover a lot of things. We're going to cover dating, misconceptions in dating. We're going to talk about marriage. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to try to run the gamut. We're going to try to keep Kris to topic, which is going to be probably the hardest job.
That won't
Mrs.
happen, but
Critic.
I'm gonna try.
But you want to get started by, talking about, what do you want to talk about first? Dating? Let's talk about dating. That's the inception.
I'll start with our guests. And I'll start us off, Gina B.
Okay.
Clearly, dating seems like folks aren't. There seem to be a lot of activity, but not a lot of actual long-term hookups. You okay? That apple juice, something in it?
Listen, what I'm drinking right now, a lot of bad nights started this way, is all I'm going to tell you.
What do you think, Tasha,
Lord.
is the biggest differences between dating and by the way, Gina B, you've been married how long?
A whole year.
But you dated.
But we've been together for 15.
All right. And then we've been married.
Oh wow.
I'm testing you.
Do you know? We almost have the same
We know.
anniversary. Our anniversaries are within days of each other.
16 years in the game. So we didn't have a lot of social media, online dating back then. But Tasha, what do you think the biggest difference is from folks dating in the early 2000s, which seemingly was sort of normal? Folks started liking each other. We didn't have gender wars back then.
Back in
and
the
now,
1900s.
what do you think is the biggest difference?
I think the biggest difference is technology. I think that plays a huge role in the expectation of who you can meet because it's so vast. It's like an ocean of people versus more in-person connection. And so that's a huge difference. And so it may feel like you get to know people because they're there, but, you know, I think it could also change your perspective and your level of expectation because technology.
That's a good point. We really don't talk about that.
Well, that's true. I think that the difference, just given, you know, how old, depending on how old you are, right? So in the early 2000s, it was more inventory, right?
That's kind of what I'm saying. It's inventory. The social media and tech allows you to have more inventory.
More inventory, but I'm talking about like when you would just go out. Like there was more people. There was social media. I remember I was on online dating before I was doing experiments with a column before I met my husband.
Experiments.
I could write a book. I used to write. This is when I was writing for Red Eye. I did.
I believe you, Gina. Let her finish the story.
But
she was doing an experiment. She was doing an experiment.
At the time, I had more success just going out myself because there were so many. There were dating options were plentiful, like in the streets. Like you would go.
But that's for everybody at 20, you know.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
everybody at 30.
Exactly.
So everybody went out more. And as you age, people don't go out. You have more responsibility at work. You have more responsibility in your life in general with parents, whatever. And so if you're not going out as much because the nightclubs cater to a younger demographic.
Right.
But most of them.
Some of them don't.
Coupled with now you have all, that's true, you know, but most of them.
But here's the thing to think about too. Back then, because there wasn't as much online dating, people were more apt to be like socially
to be out
friendly.
also.
And to be socially friendly. Like right now, people are like, they're sitting there and they're doing this. And no one, I think people rely more on online dating.
They do.
And no one knows how to be social.
They said that was on a news program today about how lonely people are. You know, all of these different ways to communicate and connect, but people are lonelier than ever. They don't go out. And then I think now, as of late, COVID has impacted a lot of patterns as far as how people communicate and go out or not. They don't even want to go to work. You know, so let alone don't want to go to to meet someone.
Yeah, and that, you know, when you think about it, you go back to Tasha's original point, late 80s, early 90s, you go to a party, you see 20, 30 people that you might be interested in, you might talk to one or two. Versus online now, you have
200.
I'm just going to swipe through this whole list of ladies.
Yeah, the perception is
and
that
DM them all. I'm going to send them all a DM.
But then it becomes
see who can see. I'm going to throw that hook out there and see who.
And it's probably discouraging and all of those things. And they're not pre-vetted either because you don't they're just random folks.
But it becomes a cesspool online too because online's like a microcosm of what you'll meet in the street, right? So I just remember like when I was doing online dating, I had a group of girlfriends. We're all doing it. And, oh, did you see him? I saw him too. Oh, you saw Chocolate Prince 2020. Oh, yeah, me too. Like it would just be, there was still kind of a cesspool.
But, I mean, I think there's some
Pool's got a lot of pee in it.
There's some, it's the same thing.
It's the same people.
The same people.
You know, it's just where they are.
It's a larger group of people.
And also, I think, you know, now I'm thinking about if I were online dating, right? I think I could get on a lot of those chicks because you're seeing more. You know what I'm saying? Like normally, if it's a party in 88, you're limited to the people in front of you.
I think the point is there's so many people out there. You feel like nobody's good enough because there's so many options.
Right.
True.
You can date globally now.
And I will say, for men, I think young men, Reese, you can weigh in, even guys younger than us, it impairs your ability to flirt and speak to a girl on like in real life. Because, you know, in the past, I had to meet you at the lunchroom or at a party, and you might have not liked me, and I had to regroup and come back and crack a joke. And you got to work on your skills.
Well, they can still do that at school, but
after school,
learning.
Yeah, I mean, now you mentioned it. We had COVID. People work from home. People don't even go outside as much anymore. What is it? I do think some of online dating is good. I mean, You do have a
Some
wider.
of it is good.
You can meet people in other areas with similar
You
interests.
can date globally, but
Right.
you can also
can-
see what a lot of people are doing and getting themselves in trouble. They're like, oh, I'm going to be in New York. Who's in my vicinity? Who can I swipe on?
Oh, I got a homie. Listen, shout out to the good fellas, by the way. They shall remain nameless. We take fellas trips. We got a couple single guys, but when we land, his itinerary is already set up. He's already got dates. Every time.
Airtime. Well, we got some folks. It's not popping up there for whatever reason, but on here, I'm going to say hi to Hey Susan, Hey Chicken, who was our guest of last week. She was so
Chicken.
much fun.
Hold on. Shout out Reese Tech issue. We're not seeing all comments from all people.
Well, I think it depends on where you're logged in.
Well, he should be able to pull up YouTube. He should be able to pull up Kris and Gina, all those places.
All that. All right.
All those places.
So,
Anyway, continue, Gina B.
but this is because okay. Anyway, so on to the next thing. I have several phones here that I can choose from. Okay. So, but
Wait, I want to mention one other thing.
what?
You can date, and I don't think people take advantage of this, especially sisters. I think you can meet people outside of your race more online.
You can.
I think other people are afraid sometimes to talk to black folks.
Well, so a couple things at play there. So I always encourage my friends after a breakup to just put up an online dating profile because it's very ego boosting to see like the floodgates will open, right? And then you'll see who's interested in you. And that could be multiple nationalities. That could be all kinds of things you don't want. It could be lots of things, right?
Right.
But that's the beauty of it is that you can see who might without, it's going to be in a controlled environment, so they may feel more comfortable, to your point. So that's a good thing. I think that's one of the things it does well, which segues nicely into the next question. So what does it do well? Like, what are the benefits of it?
I don't know what I did with that.
You did something. I have no idea what.
broke it.
You're on.
Just go away. Just go back over
I
there.
don't know what's happening. Okay.
Go ahead, Tosh. What do you think? What it does well?
What does online
Is that what
dating?
Modern dating, like dating now. What is good about
We
it?
gonna get to the problems in a minute.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about what it does well first. So,
Okay.
what are the benefits? I mean, none of us have dated in a long time. What do you see are the benefits? Like, have you witnessed any benefits, or is it just like hell no?
I don't know what you mean. I don't understand the question.
Like now
I mean,
versus-
people are now versus when. I
20
think
years
people
ago.
are in. I don't think it's any different from the tech question. I think that there's a lot of variety of people. You get a chance to meet people. You have more people that might be interested in you. There's a lot of there's still a lot of places that you can go. You just have to get out there and go have a different variety. I wouldn't date online exclusively, but I would try to find things that interest me and ultimately try to meet someone in those environments so that we have some commonalities in what we like to do,
Right.
who we like to be around.
Well, let's get into the meat of this because we could talk about this for a while. What mistakes do you see single women and men making in
Just
dating?
in modern day dating?
Yeah, you have friends who are single. I have friends who are single, and some of them I understand 100% why.
I know why most men do. It's the same mistake that men have made for centuries. Now we can
What?
see, because you can see all those shapely derrieres. Reese, when you agree?
There's a lot of ass.
Brothers
flying around.
out here, if you see a certain shaped cheek, you going. And they don't always make the best. They don't always, I'm not saying, no disrespect for any of you nice, round, supple cheek women out here. Not
Supple
trying to
cheek.
say that. I'm just saying.
right now with you.
I'm just saying, if that's how a man picks, he's not always picking right.
Chicken says getting
I
in bed
think-
too soon.
I agree with Chicken
Look at
because I
Chicken.
think
See that
that,
chicken
and the
back.
reason why is because if you sleep with somebody really fast, you don't really know them, and then by the time now you're hanging out with them, and then the more you hang out with them, you don't even like them, and so you shouldn't have gotten that involved with them, it's particularly physically when
hell
you're
no.
trying to get to know who that person is, and now you're 6 months in or 8 months in, and now you're like, I don't
And
even
3
know
months
this
pregnant.
person, I don't like this person,
Right.
this is terrible. And so it would behoove you to fall back a bit and say, let me get to know who this person is to see if they're even worth my time. Do they even like me? Do I like them? Do we have anything in common?
Right.
Do we want to be around each other and just watch television and do the things that you do once it becomes a relationship?
Also, I think that there's a benefit in just hanging out with them for a while, making sure you're not making a mistake. Because sometimes you know how you like guys, and later you're like, I dodged a bullet. Like that, he's a goofy. Or if you
Or just doesn't have his stuff together, or
Right.
whatever it is. But whatever it is, you just have to slow yourself down and have some
Slow
more
it down.
information. You have to get some more information.
and check out their friend group, because you might think their friends are cuter.
I think
And
a lot
then-
of these people are hooking up before they even meet any friends.
Right, you gotta meet
That's
the
true.
friends. Meet the friends, because what you don't want to be is the pass around girl. So you meet the friends, you're like, I'd rather hook up with him. And then you break up with the one, you can't, it precludes you from, it's much better if you just lay back in the cup for a minute and check out your environment.
But I agree with everything you all said. I think men are hopeless. I think we are hardwired to
Jack.
sleep with just Khalid Hankins,
How you
aka
doing, bro?
Jack. I think men are hardwired. They're always going to sleep with who they can.
I don't think they should.
I don't think all of them, but I think more so than women. And here's why: it doesn't really hurt their reputation.
I agree, but I think that the value of a man is who he lets have access to him. If you let
I agree wholeheartedly.
No one likes community peen.
You know what I mean? If you let everybody have access to you, how cold are you really? You know, if everybody can have access to that brother,
But
then
I will
he's
ask
not
you.
that cold.
Hold
He's
on.
not.
Watch this. Chicken, I'm going to ask, she was sitting right here. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Chicken. I asked her who some of her celebrity crushes were, and Idris Elba came up.
Sure.
And that is one of your celebrity crushes.
Yeah.
And mine.
Now, hypothetically, let's say Idris had a reputation for sleeping around. You meet Idris Elba, you're single, you aren't Mrs. Critic, you aren't married to me. I'm saying I don't think you hold millionaire and handsome Idris's body count against him.
I think it depends on who that body count looks like. For example,
You wanna
women
be in-
have.
you wanna be in
Wait,
good
let me
company.
get my
I
point.
agree. I agree.
Exactly, Gina. If his
They would die.
If he's hooking up with crackheads.
But let's say they would
down,
die.
you know, I'll probably go for it.
See
you
what I'm
know?
saying? So that's all I'm saying.
But you just got to slow it down. But if his track record is like, oh no, if he's with them, he could never be. With
He's got to be. You've got to be in
You'd
good
have to
company.
got
fight.
to be in good company.
You'd have to fight Chicken. She said mine.
Right, chicken's like mine.
She's like mine. That's interesting. Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Women don't penalize for that. They never have.
We
Jack said
do.
don't mention his name during the community peen topic.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry about that,
because there's a lot
Khalid.
of community
I just
peen
saw-
out
Shout
there.
out to the good fella. Khalid was not the good fella. He is a member of the good fellas. He wasn't the example. He's one of the good ones, by the way.
Yeah. I mean,
By the way, Khalid, I do want to introduce. I have somebody I want to introduce him to. That's a
okay,
side
that's
topic.
off topic.
Side topic.
Stay
So,
focused, Levy.
I am.
I know, right? So, other mistakes that you see single women and men making. You know, I think that we focus too much on the first date.
Oh yeah, men trick off. Sorry, fellas.
What do you mean?
Yeah, go ahead.
Everyone worries about like, okay, what's the first date? Like,
Who worries about the first date?
and who's paying for it?
But I don't. Do people really?
Yes.
Yes.
They're like, who's paying for the
Grown
first
people?
grown
Yes.
people? Grown people.
I don't
Yes.
know any grown people that worry about that.
Well, he
Well,
didn't pay
think
for the first date. I hear that a lot.
I don't hear it at all.
Well,
Really? I hear it.
Really?
Well,
I totally hear
number
it.
one. How long?
Right. How long has it been since
What are you
you've been
talking
dating?
about? I know a lot of friends.
I
people
had
that
a
date.
free date Sunday.
Well, I mean, some people are. I have friends who date, and they're just like, I have a lot of male friends
Just hasn't come up.
who are rampant.
Shout out to Reed Forrest watching the show. That's
and they're like,
King LeBron. She loves LeBron. That's
Oh, okay.
Hey, Reed. We gotta get Reed another shirt. Anyway.
so people focus so much on what are the overtures that someone's going to make on the first date.
Right. And I think there are, number one, I talk about men doing dumb stuff, right?
Yep.
There's nothing wrong, and I was more traditional in dating, taking a woman out on a date, but there was less dates, right? People are meeting online now. You got to date you might have 3 dates in a weekend. So you can't really.
That's a lot of dates. I don't know.
I'm telling you, people have
very
a lot of
expensive.
I
dates.
guess things are different, but I don't know people that date that much.
So-
They're not going out with 3 different people on a weekend. You know.
I used to. Those are the days.
I'm just like, Reese, chime in. I need super producer Reese to chime in. People who date online, don't you see people going out on like 2-3 dates in a weekend, men and women?
Same night.
Yeah, same night.
Well, here's
Right.
what I'll say then. If that's the case, I think you answered your own question. You don't like all those people.
Exactly.
You don't.
So you have to filter, understand what you like,
But again-
and then see who likes you back. That's half the battle. Because if you're going out with 3 people a night, you don't like those people.
You
And
don't like any
have
of
to
them.
determine what you really like in a person.
Well, first I'm gonna beat up on
I
men.
don't like everybody,
I'm
so-
gonna beat up on men a little
I
bit.
don't like really anybody.
I'm saying that because they are flipping and simply dating on
Appearance.
more appearance, they simping out and they tricking off more up front. And admittedly, if a woman looks a certain part, it may not be this guy, but she's got guys taking her out to where she wants to go.
Yeah.
And if I were a woman, I'd keep eating it up. And I'm saying men are doing themselves a disservice because speaking of online, we talk about this. They've done studies now that it's, we've had online dating since like 95 in mass, right? Women have shown to be more particular in online dating. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but they polled all the women. They asked the women if you could get 80% of everything you want in a man, would you want that man? And a lot of these ladies said, no, I don't want to settle. And guys are the opposite. You get 80% of you want a woman, they're like, yeah, I'll take it all. But women are, they're being choosy, and they're men who are, paying for it.
Well, yeah. Well, there's some men that just are refusing to pay for things, which is okay. Because they're going on so many dates that they go broke.
Yeah, they don't like all those women either. So
They don't like all, no, they really don't. It's a numbers game
I wouldn't
for them.
spend all of my money on all these random people.
I wouldn't either. I totally wouldn't. And not only that, but like, I've said this many times in the show, I used to kind of get a little bit in trouble because I would go on dates, and then when I decided that like I have zero interest in this person, I'd be like, I'll split it because I didn't want.
You didn't want them thinking that
exactly
that they were getting some.
I have a couple people that hold that grudge
was
against me to
nixing
this
that.
day.
I wouldn't even go. I would have about 4 or 5 conversations.
Shout out to
by
K
the
Mac. I
time
see you,
I-
Kinder
and then
Morgan.
I'm not going.
Well, yeah, that only happened a couple times, but like there were people that I kind of knew, and I was like, I don't know them to date them, and then I made the decision. Now we need to. But anyway, long story short, without getting too
make no
specific,
mistake, it costs more to live now relative than it used to.
Oh yeah.
I go to the store and buy some
To live
groceries.
well,
I go buy
yeah.
some eggs. I'm paying way more than eggs used to be, right? Dates
Yep.
cost more.
They do.
So,
But then be more concerned though
And-
about how a person thinks about money. Like if you're gonna be concerned, if that is your barometer for how much he got? Well, he didn't want to pay for a date. That's not the barometer.
it's so short term.
It is.
And-
Worry about the next, how many ever.
If-
Like worry about.
If I could,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm
Does he have an investment account?
I'm telling y'all.
Think about that.
As people with 3 daughters, what I'm always preaching, I'm preaching date character and people who like you. You start there, and then money's next. Because they gotta like you. It doesn't matter how much money somebody has if they don't like you. So
Like you is first. If they don't.
they gotta like
first
you,
and
and
foremost.
then they gotta be nice.
Yeah.
I would not waste my time. I think women waste their time on
Men that don't like them.
men that don't like them.
Bother.
They like
You
they,
can't- you won't- you
they like
never-
that booty.
Because I
They
think
like
they like
the
a bit of
booty.
the chick. Because the men aren't so like they're not like I don't like you. You might get a little bit of time.
They never gonna say
or
that.
They might be in a certain category.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But so it's not as overt.
And I think because we've become such a looks-only society, and I'm not saying looks are important. I'm not insinuating that anybody date anybody ugly, but people who date today are really on looks and money. I mean, they are.
They really are.
They are two-dimensional, and that's because that's all you see when it's online. You don't get to see how funny the guy is.
Right.
How, okay, he's a little shorter. He's a little shorter than what I want, but man, he's hilarious.
Right.
Well, he dresses impeccably. Well, I love the way he treats me
You
and
get
make me
sound
feel.
bites of who a person really is.
Yeah, you don't see that
Cliff
person.
notes. The person cliff notes.
And for guys, all we see is some cheeks. And it's a lot of makeup, sorcery, and
Right,
filters,
cheeks
fellas.
clapping.
A
Yeah.
lot of makeup, sorcery, and filters out here. You don't know who
A
you
lot
date.
of sorcery. I'm gonna tell you. By the
Why you
time all
looking
that
at
goes
me?
away,
I'm just saying, usually I'm like, hey, you sort of cute. Let me ask you out.
I'm like, I'm like,
Mrs.
Jack-
Critic is on the
I'm
show,
like, Jack
people.
now, don't look at me while you're talking about
Mrs.
sorcery.
Mrs. Critic, you look great with no makeup on, period.
Yeah, I do okay.
she's like, I do okay. Yeah.
See
well,
how I did that, fella? That's how you pick up
you're
points.
just trying to solidify,
I know what I'm saying. I'm trying to hook up something for later.
Right, exactly.
But
I'm not mad at you, bro.
also, that shallowness, it takes away from time from people that may actually like you.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people. I see more women than men say this. They say, I'm not going to settle. And we talk about this
We talk about it
time.
all the time, so we can't.
But we talk about it online. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. But if you are messing around with these dudes who really weren't that into you, and then it just never works, I don't even know how they gauge that they're doing something wrong.
I don't really hear that term, that black and white about settling, but I do think
You're not in these internet streets like I am.
I don't like to be in the internet streets, but I do think that there's that the reality of people that are in relationships, you just dealing with a person's daily needs and interests and personality and their own life is just more than people. You have to accept more than people really would understand. That are single.
Is it tough dealing with Kris the Critic?
Oh, absolutely. Kris the Critic's the youngest. He's a baby of the family. He likes things his way. Nice guy, but Kris the Critic is definitely,
He's a demanding guy.
Wow.
We always are like, Tasha, how do you do it?
Wow.
Patience.
Patience.
And he's funny.
Important. Yeah, that's what it is.
I don't take it all too seriously.
These Hollywood good looks. Reese is my special
Tasha, you're a chuckle fucker,
huh? She likes sleeping with trouble.
He's funny. He's been
right,
funny.
so-
I sold out for jokes.
There you go.
It's my Hollywood good looks and my
familiarity.
special
Like, you guys have known each other for a really long
Took
time.
me
before you
18
got
years to
together.
hit. No,
No, but I mean, there's something to be said for that.
See, jokes.
Maybe the person is also right under your nose and you don't know it.
True.
Right?
Could be.
Now, let me just.
Or
Tasha,
you passed them up.
Now, Tasha, did you think Kris was cute when you met him? Well, you met him
I
so
always
young.
thought he was cute, but I just thought he was still kind of, just wild and having just a fun time all the time, ball of energy.
How did the women treat you?
changed?
The women like you, they thought you were cute and funny.
Oh my, he just wants compliments. Look at him.
He thinks he has all this game.
Yeah.
It wasn't game.
Yeah.
I was like, they just think you're cute and funny.
It was the game.
He
It
thought it was
wasn't the
game.
game.
But what
It wasn't the
changed? What
game.
changed for you?
See, I told you about that Gina B. See how she tried to get all in your
That's
business?
not-
I don't think it changed. I
Gina
think
B
just
tried to
that
get in
it
your
was a
business
different
more.
lens, but it didn't really change. I mean, I just known it for a good. I think it's what you said. It's you just try to have a different perspective.
You know what changed.
What do you think changed?
I'm
Did
just
something
saying.
change for you?
Well, no, I think with people in general, at least when it comes to marriage, you want to marry somebody, we always talk about
Similarities.
the total package score, right? Somebody who shares some similar values, somebody who shares similar interests, and somebody you trust.
Yeah.
We talk about these needs versus wants. I see everybody talking about what they want. Here's my list. Here's what I want.
You know
but that needs list is short.
What do you guys think about this? And I've heard this. I'm like interviewing the show people tonight.
Okay.
Lately, I've been reading a lot online about people these days being too romantic in selecting their partners.
Hell yeah.
And that they should be more logical in doing so. And that's one of the bigger differences between our parents' generations and now. That there's all
Right.
this social media, the movies, access to all this information that makes things feel so instant, so perfect, so unrealistic. And that's what the expectation has seeped into reality, and people are more romantic than they are realistic and more logical about their needs.
I think people take, when you listen to a song or you watch a movie or you have to consider that that's like a moment in time, right? That's not how life is supposed to be on a sustainable long-term basis.
Right.
And I think people forget that part. They're like, oh, this song or oh, this movie. And don't forget that movies are written by a person. And that is usually like, I call it the writer's whack-off. Like you see all these like rom-coms, and I know, I'm a writer. I know a lot of these authors and I know what their deal is. And a lot of it is, they're just like, what would be my biggest fantasy? And then it enacts on a page. And then that becomes something that somebody judges their relationship by, and it's really the wrong barometer, right?
Right.
So you have to always keep in mind what you're consuming and how it plays out in your own life. So to your point, yes, there's a lot of people that have
Are they waiting for
inflated
like
expectations.
this Cinderella-like experience when it's more not? It's when real life isn't like that.
right.
I think that.
And then what do you do with that when you get it?
I don't know. You're disappointed all the time.
Right.
If you expect that, then you're gonna be disappointed forever.
Exactly, because your unhappiness, okay, this is one of my little gems I'm gonna drop.
Drop a gem.
Your
Gina.
unhappiness lies in the gap between your expectation and reality.
Yeah, fantasy versus reality.
Exactly. That's why you're unhappy. If you feel unhappy, just think about what you expect and think about what you receive. I'm not saying it just, but I'm thinking like maybe apply some realism.
Just some different perspective. I think if you have a different perspective, then you can approach day to day differently, because it's like, the perspective of half empty, half full.
Yeah.
Reality versus fantasy, because it's not. People are unrealistic in what real life is.
And that is the biggest.
And they're constantly disappointed.
Exactly. Especially
Always.
talk about marriages breaking down or whatever. We did some premarital counseling, and you sort of know this person might be who they are for the whole marriage.
They will be who they are.
But I'm saying
it's gonna get worse almost.
But they may not. They may not make $3 million. This might be it right here. Matter of fact, it might get worse. So are you willing to walk through life with that person?
Right.
And if you go into it like that, then your expectation ain't in the cloud, because if you're constantly thinking, well, I'm missing out on this, I'm missing out on that, and I'm looking at the housewives of Atlanta, and they got these rich, handsome dudes in these mansions, and I deserve that.
And I'm not even talking about marriage. I mean, just even trying to
dating
date,
is the same thing.
Dating. You can't even you're not satisfied with the people that you meet to date. Everyone's a disappointment.
Yeah, if you male or female, if you have a decent picker, and you're like, okay, I'm picking some nice folks who are into me, and you're running through 15, 20 relationships, you probably aren't picking that well.
Well, you're the common denominator.
But it's tough for people to look at that.
Or it may not even be something wrong with those people.
That's
those
my
people
point.
might be.
They're human. They're just normal people.
The reality is maybe they were a pretty decent catch. Maybe pretty decent woman, a pretty decent guy.
Right. I agree.
But it doesn't meet your fantasy level.
But they served a purpose. There's so many people you date who serve a purpose, and that purpose isn't always marriage. There are people that I dated because they were so much fun.
But do they serve a purpose, or if you had to learn something from them?
Yeah.
If you only got a bad memory, well, I can't believe it. Because a lot of people they break up.
There are some people that you'd like to throat punch.
And that's my point,
repeatedly.
Right? And if you get the last 20 people you want to throat punch,
then the common denominator is you at that point.
That's all I'm getting
A bad one slides in periodically.
Yeah, you gotta get a better picker.
But you got to. But everyone's not for you to marry either. Like especially when you're younger, right? You're younger. It's like I dated a lot of guys because they were fun to hang out with.
All right, let's get to some big questions.
I thought that was a big question.
No, that's a big one.
It was a big question.
This is a bigger one.
What's a bigger one?
This is a big one.
Why are so many marriages failing? That's a big one.
There we go. And
Did you get tired of people? People get tired of people.
Well, at what point, and I see this online, I see it from both sides. People don't like looking in the mirror and seeing what their flaws are.
Absolutely
That's
not.
true.
They do not.
How do you listen? I've seen. I saw somebody comment on it. Then I actually saw a video on it too. I don't know if the video was staged or not, but whatever the case. This woman was going off on this guy. He might have been 5'7", right? Guy was short. And she even asked him, how tall? He's like 5'7". She's like, I'm more of a 6 feet type of person. He was like,
have the conversation. It's
and
like
he
turning
said-
down a job before you even.
exactly. And he said,
No one offered you a job,
he said,
bitch?
wait a minute. He said, how much do you weigh?
Okay. I knew it was going there.
She snapped on him.
No, he should be able to ask.
She snapped on him. So
or
my point is,
the more polite way they used to say, like the Kevin saying guy, like what your dress size or something. You may not want to say how much you weigh, but because you can see someone's height, you can't see their weight. You can guess it.
I didn't quote Kevin Samuels.
I'm happy for anyone to guess my weight or my size. I don't care.
Well, it's
12?
easier when
12?
If you're slimmer, it's not bad. If you're slimmer, it's not bad. But nobody wants somebody asking their weight if they're not slim.
Like, don't get hurt over
I
here.
know nobody's size. So
You don't know anybody's size?
no.
Okay.
I know Tasha's shoes are little.
You know her shoes.
little
You
shoes.
should know your wife's size.
I do. Matter of fact,
I told you, you can't take it seriously, Gina. He knows.
I ordered some shoes. I was ordering some shoes.
You can't listen to everything.
Remember, I wanted it to be a surprise, and then I kept getting served like women's clothing ads. Remember that?
Yeah,
it was
I
funny.
do.
It's just like, why was that your algorithm? That's a good question.
Oh my God, I like it.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
Here's what I think. I think that a lot of marriages are failing. It depends a lot, and it has a lot to do with why people went into it also. Some people got married for money. Some people got married for kids. Some people got married for status. And so if you have achieved that, maybe you're done with it. or some people got married for fantasy, wanting the wedding versus the marriage. There's a lot of reasons that people come.
I want to shout out to Ree Forrest. I agree. She says it's all about trust, and all women don't want to be married. We said that.
I agree.
I think all women and all men don't want to be married. And if you don't, that's fine. Then don't get married. Some people say they want a companion. There are people who've been divorced, or maybe they have kids and they got along just fine, and their kids are grown and they don't want to be married. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
People have different motives for being married, and depending on what those motives are.
But my issue with men and women, I don't even like the name gender wars. I feel like you should be able to talk.
It shouldn't be war.
You should be able to talk about whatever you want to talk about without blowing a gasket,
if
right?
If someone marries a man or a woman for money and then the money's gone, the marriage is gone. If
I agree.
somebody marries someone for kids and you have the kids, then the marriage can be gone.
I agree.
So that's what I'm saying. The motive has a lot to do with the what do you call it? The ability to stay in it.
You gotta be interested in the person. See,
that's the whole thing. You gotta like the person. But today's society, you got guys out here chasing chicks with big booties, and you got and you got women out here saying, "I want a 6-figure man." And the truth is, and y'all know I look at numbers.
Yes,
there are about 920,000 black men making over $100,000 in this country. There are about 720,000 black women making over $120,000 in this country. But there are about 40-something million black people, 25 million black women over 25. Oh, y'all can't have him. And it's just a numbers game. So at that point, I think to Tasha's point, people are dating like they want a guy with this money, but he don't have it. It ain't enough. Then they get upset with him or whatever the case. Or if a young man dates a woman and she looks the part, but she doesn't respect him, she speaks to him any old way, and then he's unhappy, blaming everybody. I really do think, and I always say you got your needs and you got your wants. Everybody's chasing these wants. But if as a man, I value trust. Sure, I believe I married a beautiful woman, a woman I was attracted to. But I also I thought ahead like she would make a good mother. And, I could trust her, respect her, and all of that. So those were bigger than what you look like. I mean, you fine, but you know what I'm saying.
Go ahead. No, you go.
No, go, Tasha, because you have to respond directly to your husband.
I think that this is going to be, I think that all the values and all that stuff is definitely true. But I do think if you want children, you do have to consider that your kids are going to look like him.
That is, listen.
Now we skiing. This is for our younger viewers. It's for our younger viewers. You're absolutely right.
Have to worry about, if you don't worry about having any more children, or
you want to be like, she got a chin just like her daddy.
He can be a little. Looks matter less if you're not trying to have children.
Yeah, if you're trying to, okay, so let's take some.
Well, you just got to have some boys.
Let's take some examples.
I know.
We can take some examples. Like, it was a tragedy, I thought, and this is sad because a lot of these people are no longer with us, but it was a tragedy that Whitney Houston's daughter came out looking just like Bobby.
Right.
But she wasn't a bad-looking girl.
Richard
Pryor's daughter.
Right.
Richard Pryor's daughter.
Right.
Nothing against Rain Pryor.
She got that jaw.
But she looked like her daddy.
She got the
and if that's why I said you got to have a boy.
You got to be careful. I look a lot like my father. I'm not sure if that's a good
But you got the feminine version of it.
But but I don't look anything. Like if my mother was still alive and she walked in here, you'd be like, I'm sorry, and who is that?
I don't look like.
I have absolutely no. There
I
was
don't, I don't look like either of my parents. I don't know what they are.
Anyway, okay, so let's go back to that.
Okay.
So I've been married a year.
Okay.
And I've learned a lot in this year and being together for 15 years.
It's different?
You learned a lot in this year?
Really? I have. I've learned a lot in this year. You know why? Because, and if you really want to throw a wrench in your shit, just open a business together. Like start.
Yeah, that's a lot for a first year marriage.
Oh my God. I feel like I've been made to have a child that I did not want. But but really like I had options because that was really he really wanted to do that, right? He really wanted to have a place. And I had choices to make. I could have either said, do you, boo? And I would never see him because it's very consuming business. Or I could say, you know what, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to get into it because you love it. And I'll be an investor even, and I will take a major part in it. And I think our relationship is better for that decision.
Yeah.
So it's, I feel like you have to get into, this is why you have to like the person because you have to get into the things they do. Otherwise, there's a faulty foundation.
I just
Like
can't-
you should get into it.
I agree. And I just came up with a new Kris the Critic.
What's that, sir?
If you take away that person's best part or whatever, their money or their beauty, would you still want to be with them? I think people should ask that question.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I always say, if you marry the right guy, that dude doesn't care. You know, you can go and gain 3,000 pounds. He ain't going nowhere.
no. Well, he. Would
And if
care.
you marry the right woman and you lose your job and you got one arm and, you know, you have a stroke and you can barely wipe your butt,
It's like she'll figure it
that
out.
woman stays.
She'll figure it out. You figure it
That
out.
woman stays.
Like
We have a neighbor. She married somebody older. Her husband
okay,
is
so we
in
got
that
this.
situation. She has stayed with him. That man picked well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
But let's go back. I really want to, I don't want to get into it, but I think most of the cause of these gender wars, couple things. People don't like acknowledging their trauma, right?
No.
I frequently tell people it's easier to date if you don't have children already out of wedlock.
That's so true.
Now, I had a child out of wedlock, so I'm not judging any men or women. I'm telling people it was difficult. But when I say that to people, it's that you're bashing me. No,
that's not true.
I'm telling
It is
you
easier.
that is very difficult.
It is easy. It's hard.
I
Because
had a
your
whole
attention
village around,
goes-
and then they'll start naming every exception. Well, your daughter is doing well, and I know so and so.
Yeah,
They
but
had
you
a
had to work
two-family
hard for
household.
that.
And listen, if we can't, my father used to say, you got to look in the mirror and fix yourself first.
Absolutely. You do.
So people just don't want to do that.
Because you're the common denominator in all your bad situations.
And just because something resonates with you, that's not a knock against you. I tell people, I had a child out of wedlock. Hey, that's hard. That's hard business. But I had a whole village. I needed all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you need the support.
I think most gender wars start because somebody, you know, there's a broke guy somewhere saying, oh, money ain't all of that. People with money got problems. Because he ain't got none.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? I'm like, don't do that.
I'd like for us to, okay, so let's take a little pause. I'd like for us to not refer to it as gender wars because ultimately we're to partner.
I like that.
And we should not be warring against one another. We should be trying to figure this out.
I like that,
The
Gina.
minute you think that there are wars, you think that there's dissension. There does not have to be dissension. There
Nope.
should not be dissension with the right person. Right?
I like it. Matter of fact, I think some of y'all broke dudes out here should get some of these women who got some money and learn how to do some work around the house
Next question.
and partner up and make this thing work. I'm for real.
All right, we
Y'all
got,
don't
we
like
got
that?
a comment that's interesting. Okay, so Reforest says, the men of 2024 are not willing to give up their personal freedom and independent associates with marriage. What do we say about that?
I think she's right. And I think she's 100% right. Now, Ree, I'm going to speak on it. I always say, men are what, Gina B?
Simple creatures.
I think men are simple creatures.
Be a kid and not a cat.
I think, Ree, women, feminine women, rule the world. I think wars have been started so people can win over countries. I think men have killed each other over a woman. I think when a woman shows the man who really wants her feminine side, that man is going to do whatever she allows him to do. Now, having said that, I don't think a lot of men in 2024 they don't have to commit to have kids. They don't have to commit to have sex. As a matter of fact, there are some men now who can have sex with multiple women. Those women can come do his clothes at his house. They're doing too much for men who haven't committed.
Yeah, we have to have a show on that, whether it's healthy to audition.
I just think that
to be a wife.
and don't do it.
Yeah.
No.
Because
You don't have to do all that.
No.
Matter of
We
fact,
didn't do it.
doing
Gina and
too
I
much.
know. You don't have to. They
No.
like you. They like you. You don't have to do
I
all
would
that.
I would also say that
Even if they ask, you have to
I
say
tell
no.
women to make a man
no,
feel like
you good.
make a
No.
man work, but don't you listen. If you act like a woman in need, can you come check my tire? I just think it's got. I don't know why it ain't even got to have. It can have air in it. Just say it. And he's gonna come check it, and all of a sudden he's checking on your car every 30 days.
Because they like to feel. I had to learn that.
Men by default, we get shot down a lot as teens. So we learn what women like. Hence, we like having sex. We gonna say whatever we got to do. Women used to know how to get guys to propose. Hold off on the coochie, because no man has treated a woman better than before he sleeps with her. Don't give him none right away, because you can weed out the ones who really like you.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you can.
but that's my point. I do think men are not committing because they're not being challenged. They're not.
Okay, I'm going to flip it for a second because we got 10 minutes left, and this is something that we don't focus on the show at all,
Sure.
which is that how do, in marriage and relationships, men, the topic is men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So that means that we have different focal points on
Yes.
what we want from relationships. And I was watching a very interesting, I was listening to I think I told you about this earlier. I was listening to a podcast. Don't worry, I won't get as graphic as the podcast.
Please do.
You want me to get that
Love
graphic?
it.
So Katy Perry was
Oh, yeah.
talking about her relationship with her
Maybe you won't.
mate,
This is gonna be
Orlando
funny.
Bloom. And it's like sometimes men don't think about the little things, and a lot of men don't understand that foreplay begins in the morning, right?
Right.
And so it's like her point was, if I walk downstairs and the dishes are washed, all the cupboards are closed in the pantry, everything is
Light
pristine.
bulbs are in.
Absolutely, everything is in order, is where it should be. She said, "Be prepared to receive fellatio." Was what she said. And
I
it's
think
like,
that's a pro tip by Katy Perry.
this
I
is a
think
pro-
men
this
should
is a
take that.
super pro tip.
Listen, I think men should take that tip and run with it.
Listen, all it takes, I don't, and her point is, I don't want a red Ferrari. I can buy my own red Ferrari. I want you to wash the fucking dishes. Like, so it's like, just, can you do the things, like understand what it is that's going to please your mate. And with men, a lot of men overblow. They think that you need an overblown action to receive a good reaction.
Right.
In a woman.
Sometimes you need to just not have to manage the things that you have to manage.
Exactly. Can I just not
Can
have to
it
tell
just be,
you?
Can I not have to tell you? Can it just be done?
Right.
And fellas, if you are
It's
dealing,
lovely.
if you're dealing with a woman who's been used to doing all stuff on her own, it's okay to volunteer to do some of that, because she will keep doing it and not say nothing, and then like sort of be mad at you that she's doing it all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah.
because most men have, you know, it'll take me. I owned a house, 2 houses before I got married. I was already cooking. I was already cleaning. I was already doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You'd like to think that if you get a guy, he doesn't just stop. You know. Now, granted, I didn't cook as much when we first got, because I had her mama
Or
cooking.
clean.
And
Or clean,
I had her mama's cooking. And I just assumed, no, I'm playing. You ain't your mama.
Oh,
Look.
please. My husband is only.
I just
I've gotten
assumed.
exactly 4 meals out of my husband.
But
in the
I've
entirety of our
learned in the last
relationship.
couple years,
4.
I like cooking, right?
You're a good. Yeah, you're always
But
posting.
that's
new.
Exactly, it's
Is that
new.
new, Tasha?
Yeah.
Yes.
but it
Who
seems
knew?
like you say take so much
I know,
pride
but-
in it, though.
I know, but it's because when you don't have to do it, and you do it when you feel like it, and you do it in the last 3 years, and you do it when
In the
you
last
feel
3
like
years,
it.
okay.
Then it's not
And-
like you're not making 3 meals. You're
and-
not making, you're not.
And I don't
eating-
do dishes anymore, because
Right.
I've even told her not to do dishes, because we have teenage girls.
Oh, well,
and,
that's what you had them for.
and they need to do dishes.
Because if you
I
don't
don't do
children
dishes.
for chores, what do you have them for? That's the whole
Sometimes
point of a
they have
child.
late nights.
Yeah, they not.
Whatever. They didn't.
I'm working on them. I'm trying to make them into great wives.
You have great girls, though. You
I'm
have great
trying to.
kids.
Right now, they are.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I mean, it's good for them. It's good for them
don't
to be
listen.
able to juggle things.
I think men and women value different things. I think they
We do.
see different things, see things differently. I don't know. I was told I don't apologize a lot, because
No.
That's
there are
his- that's
things
his platform.
You
No.
know, I know.
No.
That's Kris's
It's
platform.
so
What?
funny. And I, I'm an independent thinker about things, and so those are challenges.
I'm in the
that
house
we
like,
discuss.
remember Prince's dad from Purple Rain? You do what I say. You keep this house clean. Nobody listens to me. Reese, nobody.
Realistically, though, I
And,
mean,
yeah, and I'm gonna continue on. Okay.
What do you all think? You said that men and women have different, what'd you say?
I don't know.
Different things that motivate them or whatever.
Yes.
How do we, back to the gender discrepancies,
right?
how do we keep, this is an open, I don't have the answer. How do we, everybody seems like they think they're being cheated. Like I see
Well,
single men.
It's entitlement.
And given that I do a
I
show,
think it's entitlement.
I can honestly say that there are men coming at me now like, Kris, say this. Like, and I'm like having to tell some of them, sometimes you're wrong. And sometimes some women are wrong. Everybody thinks that they're being done wrong all the time. Which when you're with somebody, it's called compromise. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people.
But you want someone who gets you, right? And so if you get me, then you should understand the things. Like I get irritated when my husband orders food and like mine's a little off. And I'm
I do
just
too.
like,
You know what? For a while,
This is new to me.
Gina, every time we would go order food, they would always get my order wrong.
Well, who orders?
You. And I could not believe it. I was like, why
been together
is
for
my order always
Are you
wrong?
saying you're a better food order than me? Be honest.
Yes.
yes, I can tell you that. I don't even know.
She is so not
I don't
detailed.
understand why my order's always wrong.
I know
Your
what you-
order's wrong, not mine.
I mean, you can.
You
You
order
probably.
all the food, and my food is gonna always be wrong.
That's true, but I will let you know that.
That's true, but well, I mean, there's no
I-
but. That's true, but so let's
I
fix
was
it.
like, what is going on?
I will say the best food orderers are actually the younger people in our house because they are.
Okay,
that's true.
They grew up in. No, they'll send you the exact order. No lettuce, no ketchup. This one, I got one kid that only eats a burger with lettuce. One of them only eats it with tomato. They do not use condiments. One of them uses ketchup, and they will tell you their orders are never wrong.
Right, but I'm
But
talking
we don't
about
always do
from
that.
a couple perspective. Like you should, like I got so irritated
'Cause I
because
shouldn't even be
he
ordering the
ordered
food.
something the other day, and I was like, I don't like this. Why is this even here? Like it's just, and then it makes you feel like, and then of course it gets into a thing where you're just like, do you even know me at all?
I think he says things to me that just to see my reaction, he'll go, hey, you want some corned beef hash? He knows I don't eat corned beef hash.
Absolutely.
It's like, why are you asking me about stuff like that? So, I mean, those are things that are small, but ultimately, the Mars and Venus, I don't think, to get into it, I think people have different needs, different perspectives. People don't either know what they need or don't want to communicate it. They don't feel comfortable communicating what their needs are to the person.
Yeah,
I think people learn themselves more as they get older.
Yeah.
my relatives in the South would tell me when I was single, you need to pick one, you're going to get stuck in your ways. I do think there's something to be said for as men and women get older, we get very particular about things. Mm-hmm.
because you've been doing it for a while.
then I see there are still a significant amount of people who get married every year who are 50, 60 years old.
Yeah.
I think those men and women just don't. Your mom recently got married. After
My friend's mom got
Hold on,
married in her
listen.
80s. It was so cute.
after Tasha had a talk with the guy.
No.
What'd you tell him?
No, we're not going to talk about it on the
She
internet.
had a talk.
on the internets.
Anyway,
On the internet.
Tasha
On
mother,
the internet, we would not be having this discussion.
Tasha mother knows
Internet.
the secret in that she can cook. I ain't never seen nobody been married 50 years.
I'm sure there are
What a
other
woman.
secrets.
That's true.
That's gross.
See what
I know, right? I'm like, that's gross. It is.
People
but
think
guys
Gina
need
B is
each
all
other.
sophisticated. I'm like, y'all should hear Gina B's potty
You
mouth.
should hear me offline. I give you a little show online. But we're getting close to the end. So what do we do about this? Like,
Right.
what's the solution? Like, how, if you are single and dating and you're trying to appeal to the opposite sex as a man, what is your suggestion, Kris?
I'm gonna say for men and women.
No. Go with men.
Just men?
We can handle women.
Okay. As a man, I think you should look for a woman that, because women have options, a woman that likes you, that you trust, and that's loyal, and that you can be with long term, and she will be happy with you just like you are. I think that far supersedes a lot of superficial metrics that a lot of men look for now. That is the advice I would give to men. I would tell men, don't overspend on a maybe. You'd be better off saving that money for something else.
Okay. Tasha, what do you think about, like, what advice do you give single women
I want to give them some advice too.
who want to? I know you do.
I think single women should. I think if you're meeting a bunch of men, I think that you should definitely slow it down to see if this person genuinely likes you. I think you should also really listen to what they say. In the beginning, men are pretty candid about who they are,
sure are.
where they're going, what they want to be, what they don't want. You haven't slept together. There's nothing at risk. They'll be very open if you just listen and see who they are. And then if you don't like who they are, don't date them anyway. Move on.
Right.
Move on quickly, but really listen and see if they continue to call and continue to make plans for you and see you anyway. And like you, as he said, I think that's really key. I think it was a big deciding factor in our relationship of really just liking who we are as people in general. Just does this person like me, period.
Right.
Doesn't matter what you're doing for a living. Doesn't matter, if you gain weight, lose weight, whatever, whoever you are, they're cool with it as is. And I think that a lot of people, if they would pause a little bit and not move so fast, they would save themselves a lot of wasted time and heartache with people that really don't have their best interests in mind.
This is true. I would say check consistency over time.
Yep.
One of the
That's
things
good.
that really
Consistency is key.
It's key. Like that was the thing about my husband that I really liked in the beginning. I didn't necessarily like him that much when I met him. I thought he was okay. I thought he was nice. I thought he would be.
He settled for you.
He settled for me. I thought that he'd be I thought he'd be a friend, like because I am the queen of the platonic male friend. I have a lot of. I do it well, right? But what was different about him was that he never disappointed me because he was very consistent over time, which really proved to me that
stands out from everybody else.
It does, because so many people will be like, "I'll call you." Crickets, or we're gonna go out tomorrow, and cricket. When he said it, he meant it, and he followed through on it, and that's a quality of a person that
has long-term potential.
Absolutely. Like that means that he follows through on other things in his life, not just with me. It's got to be. You've got to look at the person and what they do for their, not just with you. It's got to be their idea. Like, are you a consistent person?
Right.
Do you have ethics? Do you have those are the
you don't
good
have to
bones
prompt
that you
them
want
to
to work with.
see you. Is it unaided? The phone call's unaided. How do
Right.
you know if he likes you if you always call him?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Like it's just like he
That's a good point.
told me not to text him.
Men
He's like, "Just
don't
call
show
me."
up. You call them, but do you hear from him if you don't call him?
Right. Because and I've had 3 legit stalkers, right? Like 2 maybe.
Said to be every episode just acts like these dudes are here stalking
No,
you.
but
You ain't even that nice.
I used to be no.
I
but
only had one
I wasn't.
stalker.
No, but I was a
You're
columnist.
Scary.
I was
talking about me?
Yeah. No.
You talking about yesterday?
No, it wasn't really because.
Yeah, you're a stalker too, but I mean,
You were a stalker.
2 stalkers then.
But no, I mean, like, I was a columnist, which
I didn't
attracted
like it.
attention,
It's
right?
scary
So
to
it was
me.
like the Tribune had to step in on, but it was
Really?
yeah, it was kind of weird. But
That's a sad
but
part of being
so that
That's a
shows
show
you.
idea. You guys should write that down.
That shows you though,
I don't like that.
men who are motivated. Because that taught me, actually. Having stalkers taught me, like, you don't need to be like, does he have my number? Did he call? Maybe he can't get through. Maybe, blah. No. Men who are motivated will do anything to get to you. So don't give that excuse. Don't give, maybe he
true.
just don't have my number. Maybe he didn't, no. If he really wanted to.
They'll figure it out.
I promise you he would do it. I've seen evidence of it. So, yeah.
That was a good question asking us in the beginning. One other thing in terms of these gender wars or whatever that I see.
No.
In
We're trying to work it through.
What do we call it?
We're trying to, I don't know what we're calling it, but we're not calling it wars, but go ahead.
I think if a person, if you want to be single, be who you are. But if you want a long-term relationship with a person, I think men and women need to drop that ego. I think there's a lot of ego of what I ain't gonna do, what I am gonna do, what I ain't gonna spend on. Because of, if you're a guy saying that all the time, bro, you got some past trauma because somebody that made you spend too much and that was on you. Sisters, if you are constantly telling him you ain't gonna let him control you, you judging that new man on the actions of a past man.
Yeah.
And I do think people need to go back and understand. I always say the only people who can act arrogant are people like 22 because you look the best, you fit, you just.
Well, you still can't do that. at
But
22.
money don't even matter to who you date. But past that,
It's just a function of your age.
but past that, I think you got to compete.
You do. Well, I think.
I think men.
That's true.
Men have to
Women
compete.
do have to compete.
Women, you got to
Women
compete.
don't want to
to.
compete anymore. Women
But you
don't want
have
to
to
compete.
You
Yeah.
because
You gotta
everyone feels like
compete.
you should meet. But I
Women
think,
show. Some people don't want to do their hair. They don't want to look
my
good.
God, they look
they don't want to
crazy.
smell good.
And then-
you have to compete. You
I
can't
see-
just show up any kind of
I
way.
see
but
brothers
you should
justify
want
it.
that for yourself.
A lot of people don't. They just show
I
up.
don't get it. But here's the deal. In marriage, and this is we're over. But in a marriage, I think that you always should be dedicated to self-improvement. Like, you should just
But
make
you
that.
can't do that.
Just make that a part of your life.
I agree.
Ideal.
I agree,
what
but you
happens
can't
if
do
one
that.
person does that and the other person doesn't want to do that.
You can't do that if you don't think you
You're
have
already
it.
married.
You don't. You
Well,
can't
just
do
it.
that,
Just
Gina.
do it for yourself.
I agree. Number one, I think that's huge. I don't think the people who don't want to compete do that. They say I'm enough just like this.
Well, then don't marry anybody if that's,
Well, no,
if
you're
that's
not
not,
gonna get
where you are.
You're not gonna get. Usually, you're not gonna get who you want.
Okay.
But you have to compete.
Well, this is a different
Gentlemen,
show.
there's always somebody bigger,
Competition.
better, stronger, faster, with more
Competition
money.
is a good show.
Competition
is a
good show.
Competition on there too. Is next show.
Ladies,
Next show, competition.
grandmothers and great grandmothers
Competition in
used to say,
dating. Is it real?
"Girl, don't go out there dressed like that. Girl, grandmothers can say anything to anybody. Girl, you too, you fat. You
love
gotta
about
lose some.
grand- I wish I
You
had
gotta
grandmothers.
lose some weight. Grandmothers would say anything.
Bring
to
your little
you.
fat butt in here. It's
Yeah,
like,
they
what?
will.
They will say anything. I
Anyway,
love it.
peace and love. Thank you to my ladies for joining the show.
Peace and
I
grace.
knew you didn't want to come on the show.
We
I think
thank
come on the
you.
show.
I'm a behind the scenes
Yourself.
supporter.
We
Yeah,
love
dude,
when the
yeah,
queen
dude.
shows up.
You got to do this first. You know, I do it, Jimmy.
That's what
We
it
don't
is.
even let anybody else do that. That's,
Yeah, this is our,
that's our thing.
Oh, okay.
But you can.
Reese,
Okay.
shout out to you, brother. For you all who showed up, thank you for joining the show.
Thanks,
Thanks for
everybody.
having
Gina
me.
and I do look for anybody who watches this after this, which is most folks. Leave questions. I leave questions under Kris and Gina. If it sounds like a dude said it, it's for me.
And if I put GB behind it, it's me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Anyway, thank
All
you
right.
all for joining the show.
Thank you.
Love y'all. See y'all next week. Reese,
Good
we out
night.
here like last year.
If you feel me like Brill, take heed to this wise tale.
Whether male or female, take heed to this wise tale.
Outside or in jail, take heed to this wise tale.
She got a secret, don't know where she keep it, don't know why she hide it. Guess it's convenient. She like a zebra, two things at one time. It ain't black and white when you lived it a lifetime. She got a story, might be a fable, no categories. She don't like labels. She like a loner, maybe she's selfish. Something is fishy, but she don't like shellfish. She say that her phone broke and she need a new phone. She got a night job, now she got two phones. One for the pubic, one for the public. I Freudian slip, y'all. I think that you dug it. She got a curfew, she live in the group home, but she in Miami, getting her Luke on. She can't be truthful, not what she built for. Mouth might be useful, but nothing to kill for. You know?
Avoid a quick fail, take heed to this wise tale.
If you feel me like Braille, take heed to this wise tale.
Whether male or female, take heed to this wise tale.
Outside or in